Hi, I'm a normal video, and I'm about an important issue that we're all talking about today, which is identification. In developing the language that we use in order to talk about people's feelings, we often talk about identity and how people have it. And so I want to talk about a very special people today that identifies as identities. So you can, for example, if I'm an identified person, you can identify as me. Personally speaking, as from my experiences as a person, I generally find that it is most helpful to spend all my time arguing with people who are unwilling to listen to me. And so this is why I choose to focus on language as an issue rather than such things which have traditionally been the focus of people's analysis, such as sexual violence, street harassment. I think that it's important that we emphasize the language that we use on the internet because we need to get ready to upload our consciousnesses online for a more green planet and for energy efficiency. And so you can spend all your time on providing vital services to people as you want, but I just think that's kind of reformist. And so that's why basically I would describe my philosophy as accelerationist in nature, because I believe that all forms of power will inevitably become too heavy and fall over. And so for that reason, we should make it so there's more of it, so that it'll then turns inside out, and then there's less. Kind of like a Mobius strip. And I think it's really important to emphasize things like flows. And I'm really interested in waves of flows. And when I go to a talk, I always like to shake things up a little bit. Like, no matter what it's about, I kind of like to, blow people's minds a little bit. I always say, what about flow waves? What do you think that's? Yeah, that's like, I appreciate what you're trying to do, but like, in relationship to waves of flows, like, what would you say about that? And usually they don't know what to say. And I think that that's a good sign, because it shows that you're changing. You just want to change the way that people look at things a little bit. Like, people are always saying that things exist, and so I like to say, well, how do you know that anything exists? And another thing that I really like to do to blow people's minds is to talk about how words aren't the things that they refer to. That it's different, because a lot of the time people think that words are actually, that like the word cat is actually cat. Or like, I'm really interested in thinking about economies as like a surface, and like the topology of surfaces, and like I would oppose that to the other like strain in economic thought, which calls itself the materialist. because communism is a good idea in theory, and but ultimately I think it's more useful to just like think about the way that like capital like flows in like a kind of a like if in like a rhombus, like donut shape. And so like getting back to identity, like the whole point of bringing up philosophy was to like show how you can't be certain about things. So like a lot of problems have happened because people talk about groups of people, and they like say that things are true like of people in a group, but the problem with that is that you can never really be sure of anything, and so like everyone is different, and so that's like you shouldn't make generalizations because like you don't know how that person identifies. Like what if that person identifies as an identity? Like you don't know that, and so you like shouldn't like do anything. And like so like and like one of the problems is like with the idea of like safe space, like people say that you should create a safe space, but like how do you know that everyone is always going to be safe? You can't. And like so that's why I think that since we can't guarantee everyone's safety, we should at least try to guarantee everyone's feelings. So like ultimately it's all really complex, and this is why I advise people to avoid going offline, because if you think about it, a lot of the vast majority of the problems in history have occurred off the internet. And so that's why I think that we should get rid of not the internet, or like you can have like ultimately I think that there should be like separatist internets, so that you can like have those other people who are doing their thing, but internet people should focus on internet issues. And so that means language, because you basically you can't ever talk about things because like no matter what, it's still always words. You're still always using words to talk about it. And like so we need to separate words from things. And I think that the future is with the words, and the things will go over there, and that's fine. Like they can have it, but I'm not going offline. And that's my decision, and I hope that you respect it. And basically I'm building a special room in my house with a coffin, and I have a entertainment system on like 3 of the walls, and the 4th wall is me. And there's cat pictures in there, and I hope that I will die very soon.